And that black trigger bar, understand that the trigger bar is what connects the trigger shoe to the sear in the back of the trigger. And that trigger bar, as it moves in its channel, that's where some of the friction is generated when you're pressing the trigger. And so if you felt like your trigger is a little bit gritty or a little bit stiff or just doesn't move as smoothly as you'd like it to, it often is going to be tied to that trigger bar and how it slides back and forth in that channel, and also how the trigger bar interfaces with the trigger shoe itself and the sear. The new VP9A1 series of guns, that trigger bar is, and you'll see it on the side of the trigger there, you can see there's a silver colored trigger bar that's connected to the shoe. It's a nickel Teflon coated trigger bar, and it is much smoother. And so that's how I would like to think of this, is that these new triggers in the VP9A1 series come from the factory already broken in, is one way to kind of look at that. I definitely find them to be improved, and that is not a bad thing. An easier trigger makes it easier to shoot. It's not the end all be all, but we like easier to use triggers. The next thing I'd like to bring your attention to are improved ergonomics and texture, if you will, or in this case, serrations. And they're not only serrations, but they're also enlarged controls for the slide release or slide stop, all right? So the original slide stop it's kind of like a stamped metal with some serration, to the surface of it. And it's not bad. I've used these again. I've used them for a couple years now, and I've not had any issues with the factory slide stop or slide release. But I really find myself liking the extra raised portion and the more aggressive serrations on the slide release. And that's true on both sides. VP9 has been well known for having a true ambidextrous platform, especially in the case of the paddle mag release like you see here on my A1s. Some of my other guns here are what's called the B model, which has the push button mag release right here. Actually, I think they have the same number of serrations on that front portion of and rear portion of the slide, but these slide serrations are what I would definitely consider to be improved. There are more of them, and the raised portion of the serrations is a little bit narrower. It's cut narrower. And while that may not seem to be a big deal, what I observe from handling the older VP9s, take this VP9SK even as an example, and the serrations were always fine. However, they're just even better now. It's a little bit grippier, a little bit easier, a little bit more of a positive experience for you to grasp these slide serrations, whether you grasp on the front like I'm doing here or grasp at the rear.